It is my great honor and pleasure to invite someone who has been introduced, but I think did not appear, EU Bioeconomy Youth Ambassador, Science and Innovation Advisor of Ministry of Agriculture of the Republic of Lithuania, Ugne Dirdaitė. Please. Head of Green Tech Habit Innovation Agency, Lithuania, Teresė Škutaitė. CEO of Lithuanian Junior Achievement, Angelika Rusteikienė, is with us as well. Thank you for joining. CEO of BioHIFAS, Tomas Bičkovas. Chancellor of Agriculture Academy at Vilnius Magnus University, Professor Astrida Miceikienė. Joining us as well is Director of Human Capital and Stakeholder Relations at Bio-Based Industries Consortium, Nello Emerencia. This is mine. I'm sorry. Thank you for joining, everybody. And just to begin, to kick off, I will remind everybody to use the QR code for Slido for questions and for comments. That is very much appreciated. But since the introductory speech was really unexpected, I will take the risk of also asking you to do something unexpected and just say if you think that we could define the youth generation of today in any way. Would you know, Angelika, I think I'll start with you because you've done so many projects with Junior Achievement and you seem to have met all of the young people who are doing something with innovation and technology. Is there a way to define this current generation of young people? I don't know, Z, Y, whatever generation you want to refer them to. Or are they lazy? Do they not want to work? I mean, is that all true?
Hi all, it's really great to hear. Thank you for inspiration. I think for young people, this is something, a way to deliver a message. So welcome to some schools and universities. Definitely the kids will enjoy and all your pictures. You know, every generation has its perks. So I think the current generation, this is the generation we face, which from day one keeps up with the technology. So this is, I think, a very core difference we have. This definitely makes an influence into their personal lives, family, education, the way they communicate, the way they see the world. And this is why I think we more and more talk about youth entrepreneurship starting very early on because they're exposed to so much more information, knowledge and practices while still being at school. They don't need to wait the university level or while they finish their formal education and then they can start thinking about job market. So this is the second, of course, this is the generation which thinks and sees everything very global because they're exposed to the global market from a day one. The generation which is very driven by its personal mindset and thoughts. This is where we say sometimes, oh, well, they don't have too much role models or so. But this is, you know, they want to make their way. So I love really working with them because we as a community, I would say, we still have a chance to ask questions, to guide them. And I think the core thing which is changing a lot in terms of education in general and inspiration of young people, there are no more teachers in their lives. We can be only the mentors and the coaches to show the way. But not anymore the regular teachers we had in our schools who would say the real truth in everyday life. So yeah.
But is it partly then true that sometimes the young people of today are a bit too self-confident, as Augustus, I think, kind of carefully alert to as well? And, you know, we hear these stories from employers of, you know, young people not wanting to work from 8 to 5. None of them wants to do it. Everybody wants to be an influencer and that's all that they want, and, you know, and things like that. There is some truth in it,
you know, to compare, actually, I think nowadays, like 20 years ago, I believe we were even more risky than the current generation. I'm quite impressed this current generation is pretty actually cautious in a way, but what they expect from the job market, they really expect partnership. They don't want to have this, regular structured hierarchy ways in the organizations where you come, you're the general manager, you wait for 5 to 10 years to become some career. No, if they have a knowledge, if they have a skills, so they want to really leapfrog their career. They really want to make it fast, and they really want to feel that they have a voice at the table. They really want to see how they can change, and they really have an opinion about the way the things should be done, So I think it's more about really finding a way of a dialogue with this current generation, be it the science, entrepreneurship life, or education. So this is, I would say, is a good key for the way forward.
Okay, thank you. How willing, Ugne, you are to get into dialogue, and because you're EU Bioeconomy Youth Ambassador, maybe you could just tell us what this is all about?
Yes, so hello everyone, it's an honor to be here today. So to be a Bioeconomy Youth Ambassador means that you are engaging with the bioeconomy topic, you are speaking louder. Let's say you are collecting voices from the youth organizations, and you are transferring that message to the politics, also for the business people.
In what formats? Could you just say some specific examples so we understand how all of this goes?
Yeah. So, for example, there are 15 bioeconomy youth ambassadors across Europe.
15.
15. So there was a competition to get there, and it's basically, let's say, by European Commission, they are inviting us to the high-level conferences. Let's say the European Council event, and there we have to present the youth voice. Another example, like a very short one, right now is happening the Bioeconomy Festival in Brussels.
Yeah, we have referred to it in the beginning. I think Christina has told us.
So I can just tell you the message that I was one of the contributors who initiated this event. So I was. Let's say I'm a fast person and a very motivated person. And by the time I was still a student, when I was announced as the Bioeconomy Youth Ambassador, and I saw the need to send a message for the European Commission. And by the time I was sitting down and writing the proposal for a European Commission, and we were lucky. It was granted, and right now there is a festival in Europe and over 30 events. So it's from one idea, it's just spread it across Europe.
Yeah. But how do you engage and how do you involve all of and mobilize as well young people to participate in discussions and in various actions that are related to specifically bioeconomy, and why bioeconomy is important from your perspective?
So bioeconomy itself is important because it's a way to move from the fossil fuel economy to the bioeconomy, and I see a lot of potential to do this stuff. Because there are opportunities for startups, there are opportunities for rural areas to get that knowledge and get involved the rural communities. There are many opportunities. And how to engage with the young people, I would say that for sure, let's say in my case, I was contacting a lot of youth organizations across Europe and getting their, let's say, voices into one document, which tomorrow we are going to give to your European Commission. But let's say for other youth organizations or any youth. I would recommend to get into organizations, to associations, get together. And together as a team, your voice is louder, not just go one by one. You just have to believe in that idea, and you have to go to politics, to any kind of stakeholders, decision makers, to tell your, let's say, ideas and the vision, how you want the things to happen.
Yeah, so dialogue is what we are continuing to discuss. And I want to move to Teresa, who represents the Innovation Agency. And maybe you could just tell us briefly how the Innovation Agency is involved in involving youth into, startup, all of the acceleration.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here and speaking on behalf of the Innovation Agency Lithuania. So we're a one-stop shop providing various business supports for companies trying to increase its competitiveness and to open new markets, reach funding and other activities. And basically, Innovation Agency provides a variety of services in different sectors that are prioritized for Lithuania. We do have various programs that target the knowledge of entrepreneurs. We are trying to provide needed resources, knowledge for the startups, for business, to increase their competitiveness, to access new markets, and to promote new projects focused on innovation. And while our services apply to all kinds of companies and to all kinds of entrepreneurs, we do believe that especially young people, sometimes they face a lack of specific knowledges and resources. And this is why such state or European funded programs come very much in hand, because these young entrepreneurs can come to agencies like us with their ideas, with their business plans, and we can help and equip them with all the needed resources, contacts, and other things.
So let's see, what are the market trends and market disruptions about which you would inform a young person who has come to the Innovation Agency asking for advice?
So we would present a variety of services that Innovation Agency can assist, and we would try to identify the issues that they are facing and to come up with the concrete solutions.
But are there specific programs targeted at young entrepreneurs, or do you not have the age?
We do not use the age distinction for most of our programs. It really depends on the sector, on the issues that the entrepreneurs are facing and the goals that they are trying to reach.
Would you have anything to add to what Angelica has said about, the young people as a generation in general? How willing are they to take risks, for example?
Yes, I would like to distinguish that this generation is different from the others because we can act locally but think very globally. And I think what is very impressive among the young people is that we can both equally care about the problems within ourselves, in our community, and about the global problems. And this is very crucial in such sectors such as bioeconomy. And I believe what makes young people, especially promising entrepreneurs, is the ability to truly care about the cause and then to be brave and find the needed solutions.
Thomas, when you were developing your startup, was Innovation Agency an institution you went to as well or not?
Yeah, hello. Actually, we tried to get some funding in InnoStartUs, and as well we received some grants for going abroad to conferences, so we used the help of the Innovation Agency.
Would you tell us a little bit more about your startup?
Yeah, so what we're actually doing, we're taking side streams and processing into nutritious food. And for that, we use solid state fermentation with the fungi, with the mycelium, the roots of the mushroom.
And how is that going? Which stage are you?
We are still at R&D, and we are developing our prototype and finalizing it. So it's still early stage. But I think we made a quite good progress in short time because we are less than a year-old company.
So, but that is the stage already at which the investors would have already have come in.
Yeah, and actually one of them is here, Martinas, who trusted in us in the very early stage. We just had a couple of experiments at universities. And then, yeah, Martinas believed in our team and he invested. And from there on, we continued to go to incubation programs, into acceleration programs. And up to now, we managed to raise 90,000 euros and
Oh, wow.
continue going.
What do you think made him trust in your idea from your perspective?
Maybe he can answer. He's here.
We will get to him, yes.
Yeah, but well, we knew each other before in some other circumstances, but as well, I had a team already to whom I could show to him and tell, well, you know, I will be responsible for business side, for management. There is a scientist who will be responsible for developing the technology, and there will be a product officer who will be developing the product. So it kind of idea that, you know, we can handle it, and as well, I guess he should have trusted in my vision and my belief, because you know, I'm planned forward for many years, and I was involved in animal rights movement, and I just really saw that we need a change in the food system, because as it is now, it is destructive, it's not sustainable, and it won't be able to feed us with the growing population that we are having.
And how is the navigation and the regulatory aspect? Because in the previous discussion when we talked about alternative meat, we spoke about it as a challenge. At least some of them singled it out as a challenge. How is that going for you? Food safety and the regulatory framework.
Yes, it is still a challenge, but we diversified our R&D because we use different strains of fungi. One of them is which is already approved as a safe food, so we can apply it and, you know, sell it to the market as soon as we are finalized our prototype, our product. But at the same time, we are researching the fungi strains which are object of novel food. And that part is expensive and challenging. You know, it can cost up to $500,000 to go through the regulatory process to be approved as a safe. So it is a challenge, and many startups, they avoid going into that because it's really expensive. And I mean, in Europe, we have a very long culture for making our food safely. So the regulation is tougher than, for example, in the United States, because in States you can kind of have this self-assessment as a safe food, and you don't have to go through all this lengthy process. I mean, it's still costly, you take more responsibility, but it's riskier, but as well it helps to develop technologies and new products much easier than here in Europe. So
how would you then involve other young people who you say are not that willing to, you know, get involved in food safety because there's so much, so many rules and so much bureaucracy and so on? What would you say to them? Why would you say that is important?
Would that be important to develop that part?
Yeah, and, you know, to contribute to basically safer food and a better world, in a sense.
Yeah, do you mean that whether...
What would you say to other startups? You know, like, look, I know that there are many rules. I know that food security is an issue and so on and so forth. But we made it, we got this investment, and we're doing something for the planet. I mean, what would you say to encourage more people to do this, basically the same, to you know, develop startups in the field of bioeconomy, because this is essentially our topic, youth in bioeconomy.
Yeah, I want to share a short story. I was in this conference 1 year ago, and I was here on the stage. And I just came up with my idea, and I've met one of the co-founders who is a scientist. And I was really scared to go here and network and tell the people, you know, I have an idea. Let's take side streams, let's take this fungi, let's grow food on it. And it was fearful experience. I mean, I was afraid to do that. And I think it's kind of normal to have this fear, to be afraid to take the risk. But as well, I agree that it's a personal decision that, okay, I'm going to that risk and I'll try to do that. Maybe I'll fail, but if I have a direction, it's much more pleasure to go in your life with the direction than just doing something. But at the same time, I believe we need support, you know, because not everybody have circumstances in their families who would support them, or, you know, kind of environment which be supporting your personality to be a risk taker. Not everybody are able to do that. And I think it's possible to educate. And I think what Angelica is doing very good, that, you know, going to the schools and, you know, kind of talking to the young people and encouraging and kind of helping to build their characters. Because there is a lot of uncertainty in a startup, you know, and especially when you're doing innovation, because nobody did that before. And you kind of invest your energy and you don't know whether it's going to work because nobody did this way until, yeah, it's working. And then when you meet a challenge, you know, it can break you because you believed in and it didn't work and, you know, you failed and then it's so kind of you become a pity or, you know, it's kind of, hard to look to other eyes because I failed. But I think it's possible to train people, and I think it's important to go to the schools. It's important to go to, as well, to universities to tell students, well, you know, you study something, you find something, try and go and bring it to the market.
It's very nice and so sort of very sensitive that you shared this moment of being here a year ago, and then I understand that you did approach someone in the end, you know.
I did. I remember it was very hard, but I went over myself, you know.
Yeah. So going over yourself, as you say, or needing support is something that young people need. And Nello, maybe I could ask you what kind of support your organization could provide for young people?
You know, what I hear you say and the way you are speaking, this is music to our ears and our heart. This is,
I saw that in your eyes.
That's why you asked me the question now. Exactly. You know, I'm over the moon. We in the industry, we must realize what everybody wants us to do, and that is to move away from fossil feedstock and use sustainable feedstock. And these challenges are therefore all over the whole ecosystem. It starts with the feedstock, you know, because it's going to be multi-diverse and mixture. It goes on with the technologies. It's not only fermentation, it's a lot of other technology. We need a facility to scale them up and then go into the market, get the demand going and sustain the demand. And what we're looking for and what we see today more in the youth than when I was a few years younger is that this entrepreneurial mindset is very, very present, much more than my generation. Secondly, I see that they're more willing to take risks, as you are saying. Thirdly, they are more willing to accept failure as a learning. When I was growing up, if you fail, you were told that you're a failure. You're you know, get away from here. Now it's not. It's Europe is getting slowly as the way the Americas, the US are. They are failure. It is indeed a learning in the process. So what you're saying here is what we need. And the bio-based industries is an ever-changing activity. We're all challenges, and when I say challenges, it really means also opportunities. And if you really have something that you believe in, you truly believe in, opportunity knocks at your door, just come in.
It's interesting that you say that, you know, we have more of an entrepreneurial mindset. We are more willing to take risks, to accept failure. Yet, in I think one of the initial panels, it was mentioned that, you know, products do not reach the market fast enough in Europe. For example, the innovations, they have a very, the greater and faster pathway in elsewhere rather than Europe. And I want to ask Ms. Mitikiene, how should I put it? What role does the interdisciplinary collaboration play in addressing all of these challenges that are related to sustainable agriculture, that are related to food security, that are related to environment?
Universities, agricultural or life science university play very important role of this problem and these challenges. And a very important question is applied research and development and partnership with business companies, because if researchers, scientists implement projects together with business companies, we can commercialize new ideas, new bio-based products, new bio-based technologies. And now I think many agricultural universities, many life science universities should have technology transfer offices, communication and knowledge transfer centers and incubators and accelerators, because it is the best way to solve problems, conduct with environment in agriculture, and food security and bioeconomy.
Did anyone have a contribution? Sorry, I was looking at the comments from Slido, so I couldn't see any hands raised, but I saw some kind of a movement. Yes.
Yes, I very much agree on the points that were made, and I would also like to distinguish that I believe in Lithuania we have a lot of very smart, very potential scientists, and also a lot of very good entrepreneurs. But in many cases, they do not work together as much as they should to commercialize the products. And that is why when we are making funding schemes, when we are proposing new state aid, it is vital, it is very crucial to include this partnership between the science and the businesses to really foster innovation.
Nello, you're also nodding your head.
Absolutely. Yeah, and this is what we in the Bio-Based Industries Consortium, what we're offering to startups, to good scientists, to entrepreneurs, the environment and the assistance to form partnerships that are needed to move further onto the technology scale and towards commercial level. And also we are working with education institutions to make sure that the skills and competences in curricula brought today, that they are aligned as much as possible with what we see as the skills and needs that we have, that we need for the future. So we are also setting up this structured dialogue between industry and education institutions to make sure that this gap, which is there today, that we narrow the gap and even prevent it widening even further.
Would you name an example or two which has come out of this collaboration?
Sorry?
Would you name a specific example that would have come out as a result of the collaboration that you're talking about?
Well, I would like to mention an example of a program that we have been running now for 6-7 years, and that is a Bio-Based Innovation Student Challenge Europe. This is a challenge that a competition that we run across Europe. It's now running in about 20 countries in Europe. My objective is to have it all 27 member states and 10 associated countries run it by 2028. And what we are asking students is, first of all, to form teams, and teams of as diverse as possible skills, including non-technical skills. But of course, there must be STEM, there must be technology skills in there. And then select a challenge that you believe that you must address. And this challenge could be societal, environmental, economic, but it has to be sustainable, and the solutions must be bio-based, must be sustainable, and they compete on a national level, and the national winners go on to the European level, and the European winner we take up in our membership for a full year, no fee, and we guide them, we mentor them. I mentor them throughout the year, and we bring them onto international stages. And at this very moment, the winning team of last year, the French team, with a splendid way to produce a fragrant component. We are now running them across Europe, and they have already at least 3 that I know of contacts made to take up their idea into scaling it up into the system. I think this is an example that I want to.
Angelika, do you want to share your examples from your experience working with young people and innovations in bioeconomy specifically, if you would come up with any?
Yeah, just couple, I think in a structural way, when they think about, because we start very early on from primary education now in Lithuania to high school, or as I say, from ABC to PhD, even university level. I'm very happy to see you, Professor, here. So I think when we look into any vertical of the topics, we have like bioeconomy, tech, IoT, everything. I think there is a role to play in a pathway we put our young people from the beginning to the stars, as they say. So I love the junior achievement. We have kind of a theory of change. How do we facilitate the growth of the young entrepreneurial mindset so they can combine the education, as you say, and we can bring them to the market to the next stage, which is about inspire, prepare, and succeed. I think for the first stage, and what we try to do in the schools in Lithuania is first to expose young people still in the middle school, if possible, to the role models, right? To the real life examples, how it works. So we really invite you, Thomas, to come to any of schools of us to really show how the cases work, how the people and the teams consist of, to show them that we need the multi, skills approach in the team. So we look into different inspiring entrepreneurs, STEM, scientists, and everything. So kids at very early stage can understand that, to make your dream work, you have to first get a team, second, to get the skills. And this is what you say about the relevant skills in the schools. I think two very relevant topics nowadays are entrepreneurship education, and STEM education, right? I call it sometimes like a novel social and, math science way, because this is where we have to expose kids to the newest technology and new way of thinking, right? Then we look into the prepare. So prepare, this is where we have to allow already kids at school try out the enterprises. And this is where we run one of the biggest challenges in Europe. This is a Junior Achievement Student Company program where they're 16, 15 years old. They already try out setting up their ventures, right? They're real startups. They've come up with a program. We have 33,000 student companies across Europe every year. And this is, I saw just Super Garden today. You saw these red boxes. And there is very interesting a team now in Lithuania, in Panevėžys. They're exactly working on localized food. And for Lithuanians local, we all know our šaltibarščiai or our pink beetroot soup. So they just came up with a technology to really make it in a localized way. And Super Garden is exactly mentoring them. So this is where we think about the stage of prepare. Students have an opportunity already at school to kick off their enterprise, but they need mentors. And mentors already at school, because they're 15, they're 16, but they're absolutely capable of doing the things. And when sometimes in the pitches I see the first time entrepreneurs being already 30s on our kids still 16, they're on the same absolutely level, because they have absolutely the same things to tackle first. And the third thing is really a system to succeed, right? So this is where we have to bring them to accelerators, pre-accelerators, incubation programs, to innovation agency, to really give them the first ticket, to investors, to give them the first ticket to really kick off, to bring this trust that you can do, right? So yes, I'm very happy because I see that the kids already at school, as this beetroot, localized food, or I remember last time somehow only food comes to my mind. We had also a pumpkin, a very Lithuanian thing. So the kids really created like circular economy, I would say. They put it there to make sure that every piece of a pumpkin is used. So they made the sweets of the pumpkin, then some snacks, then flour. And so every detail of this food was used, right?
Angelika, listening to all of these examples and listening to you speaking so enthusiastically, it kind of sounds like there is no problem that we're talking about,
I agree with you. In some point, there are systems in place. The only thing what I see, we are small countries, Lithuania, the only thing I think we need now is scale. There are the ways how you can do. There are Junior Achievement Company program. There are great STEM education centers in Lithuania. The only thing we should think, to my mind now, is how to bring to every kid in the Lithuania, every young person in Lithuania, to try out at school, then to choose its pathway for university, because you can do different things in life, right? But so I think for us as a small nation, we have pretty much lots of and very good methodologies in place. We have lovely investors, people who want to mentor. The only question is how to make sure that these programs, like for example, Junior Achievement Student Company, can touch every young person while still at school.
Okay, did you want to say something?
Sorry?
Did you want to add something? Because it sounded like you wanted to comment on what Angelika has been saying, no?
I think young people have a lot of possibilities now in the field of bioeconomy, and universities can improve study programs in the field. For example, we have new study programs, sustainable business management, and young people are very interested in bio-based solution, in new technologies, new skills. It is very important and very important field.
There are questions that are related to financing, actually. Angelika has been just saying that, you know, there are mentors and investors and lots of opportunities, but Augustas has said that he does not believe in third-party help plus funding in every event I've heard him speak. I too don't believe in it, an anonymous is saying, for one good reason: it doesn't work. But we also have to agree that the playing field is not level for someone who is starting from zero. How do we make it fair? Anyone?
Yeah, if I may, you know, if there's any business who's out to get funding, like a donation, and that being an essential part of his business, that's a failure. That's not going to work, because that's not going to be sustainable. But the stage that we are in now, with the bio-based industry, the bio-based sector, it's an evolving thing. It's new, and for an investor, this means financial risk. And also in industry, we have a lot of industry, big industry with deep pockets. They're not willing to carry the burden all by themselves at this moment, in this stage of development. So all we do, and this is why we, as an industry, we enter this joint undertaking with the Commission to lower the risk and to share the burden. And the Commission can help us to overcome certain hurdles in terms of policies and regulations, etc. So what we need is the financial support in this stage that we're in to get it going and cross values of death. And after that, it should become healthy and run by itself. So I do believe in financial support at this stage. And very often, it cannot be done without.
Innovation Agency?
Yes, as a representative for a third-party agency, I would also like to add some points. So I will not argue whether this kind of aid helps, but what I would like to state is that we do not have a lot of other choices, because the issues in the bioeconomy sector are very much emerging, and the natural processes of transforming our business to climate neutrality, to circularity, are not fast enough. So we just have to act and try the measures consisting of state support and some other measures.
Augustas Aleshunas would have a comment on this, and that's very good, because I think the next question is also about financing, but let's get a microphone to him, and then is there a microphone running around?
Yes.
Okay, that will take forever, but
I just want to clarify what I said about the third-party support. It's not about the funding for the companies or for the young people. I was not talking about the money. I do invest. I was the first guy in Lithuania who raised the private capital. We are the contributors to get the EU funds, etc., etc. When I was having the discussion with Ville, I wanted to say that I don't believe in the third-party support to help for the young people to make a decision where to go. So that's why I don't believe, when someone else is trying to fix your mindset and try to shift the way how your life path is going to go. That's important, where I believe that the person has to take the commitments itself. And then any kind of resources afterwards, when the commitment is done and he has the goal, it's totally fine. Just to clarify.
Thank you. What are your thoughts about outliers such as private sector? Sometimes we have a private infrastructure similar or better than universities have, but we need funding to go further with our projects. The available funding for private sector is way smaller than for academia business partnerships. That's an interesting one. Does anyone want to take this or to comment to what Augustus has said?
If I may, within the joint undertaking that we are, in which we are partner, and also within Biobased Industries Consortium, yes, there is a difference in fund requirements and fund allocated between industry and non-industry actors. Because in the end, and this may be a bit blunt, but in the end, it's industry who's investing in flagships, in commercial plants. We need academia to make sure that what we're doing as industry is correct. It uses the latest technologies, and of course they also have costs, and they are funded. But the ones who are really investing in hardware and in plants is industry.
Talking about industry and big companies, I think, Thomas, I will address this to you. What is the sense to find new startups if the sector is driven by big companies and deals with a European Commission directly and makes influence? I don't believe in it as well.
Well, you know, for big companies, it's kind of hard to innovate into the fields which are not explored. They are much more driven for profit, and they invest their money where it's more safer. And innovation, it is risky. And many companies, they don't have ability to do that. So for them, it's much more easier to let those startups grow like mushrooms, and the ones which grow the biggest, they just come and pick them and then implement into their corporations. So I think a lot of innovations are driven by startups. I mean, there are companies which are successfully driving the innovation, but the most unique things and breakthroughs are coming from small startups, from small teams with some person who has a mindset which believes that this thing will work out, and that's how they work. But corporations, they have a very process which kind of makes them harder to innovate.
Nello, did you have a brief comment?
Yes, to give you a number. When we talk to politicians, also they believe and they say, "You're all big guys. What are you doing here? You don't need our money."
Yeah.
The membership of Biobased Industries Consortium, 80% is small. Only 20% are big guys, and it's true. Since this bioeconomy, bio-based industry, is so much dependent on innovation and changes. Here is where a startup, an SME, a small company comes in very, very good, because they have a good idea that they believe in, and they can move very quicker than a big company. And a big company, indeed, many are there to facilitate this process and to make sure that the top will drive up, will come up, and to assist them to grow up further into the market. So.
Could I maybe get the question to Thomas, your investor, if you don't mind? Yes, the microphone is here. How do you see the role of youth driving the innovation in the bioeconomy, innovation and growth in the bioeconomy sector?
I think it's the most important thing, just to encourage youth to do this. And I think.
And how do we do it?
Encouraging, just mentoring. I mentor quite a lot of young people. I'm involved in junior achievement programs as mentor. So I think, and it helps, just paying attention to them, just saying, I was in your situation, long time ago, and I know what it is, how to do it. It's a lot of uncertainty, etc. But, I think it helps when young people, I see this man or woman, he or she already done it. Why not I could do it? So I think it's encouragement I think is the most important thing.
But how willing do you think, to go back to what Augustus has said in the beginning, you always have to, risk. You have to always know that you may fail as well. How does that reflect in the startups that who are pitching to you?
80% of them will fail, and I think it's a way how startup ecosystem works, and I think these people need to understand. But if you want to be successful, you need to fail. I failed maybe 16 times. I now have maybe 2 companies which are successful, but 18 companies were not successful. So it was total failures. But if you are not trying, so then you could not reach success. So I think it's the most important.
So thank you so much. To start wrapping this up, so aside from the issues and the steps that we have to take, as Angelica has said, we need to scale up. All of the infrastructure, sort of everything is there. What else do we need to do to involve more people into bioeconomy? Or do you at all see it as an issue? Maybe that issue has long been solved and there are enough young people in bioeconomy. Oh, we have... could you raise your hand again so that people see that you have a microphone? Okay, thank you so much. So efficient.
That one issue we need to tackle, and that's probably a question to the panel, is how do we balance between the fact that indeed young people are more entrepreneurial, more eager to take risk, but at the same time, and I'm now speaking as an early stage investor, but also as a father of a teenager, they are much involved into short-termism. They want quick earnings, quick profit, quick success. And if we ask Thomas, I think he will agree that this game looks more like a marathon rather than a 100-meter race. So how do we, at the same time, while preserving their appetite for risk and their appetite for entrepreneurship, how do we mentor them and we foster them towards a long-term commitment and a long-term engagement into the ventures they're building?
That's important. Thank you. Thomas, would you maybe want to also say something about this? Were you also willing to get results fast?
I mean, it's a balance. You can't take
But how
your
do you
whole
reach
life.
it is the question, I think.
Sorry?
How do you reach that balance? How do you tell yourself that, I'm willing to risk, but then at the same time, I want my results as soon as possible, right?
Yeah, maybe meditation can help. Relax and breathe, something like similar to that. But I mean, I think mentorship really is helpful because when I started the company, it was that, we're just going to make a prototype in 2 months, then we're going to make a pilot scale in another 6 months, and in a year, we're going to be producing tons of the product.
Yeah.
Well, that's the mindset, but I think that also helped because it drive me, because if I would think like, oh, you're going to be struggling with the challenges, with the problems, and actually the biggest problems that I see in startup, in the system, is actually technological problems. It's the main concern of mine, how to solve the problems and bring the technology to work. Because, I'm here sitting on the stage when last year I was just like spectator and being afraid to talk about my ideas. And I didn't use any, my kind of family connections or bribery. I'm
that
here.
No longer works in Lithuania. Come on.
So I mean, people can't do that. So
The panel
I don't know,
is getting more and more vibrant. I think, at least to the foreign guests, we have to say that bribes have not been working for like 30 years in Lithuania. Right, Augustus?
Yeah, so I just want to tell that, we need, and I met Martynas, who really mentored me in the beginning, and I was not getting myself an idea that I will fail. I was afraid to think about that. And he said, you might fail. I mean, that was a relief. But at the same time, during incubation and acceleration programs, I kind of built the character. Okay, it's not that I don't care. I took the money and I'll try something and I fail. No, it's just like I have to have idea. I have to have a direction. And if this path fail, I've just turn a bit and look again to the direction and try to follow another path. So I believe the mentorship helps a lot, to build your mind, to build your character, to understand how the startup works. And it's important to it from the young age. I guess if I've learned about the building a company in school or at university, I mean, I got some insights about building a company at university because I was studying business management, but it was just like a side thing. But the mentoring, the education, I mean, we have many technological problems which we need to solve. We just need more people come and try to solve them. And for sure, 80% of them will fail.
Yes, I have seen your hand, and I've seen your hand as well. I just want to bring this back to Ugne and say, and ask for your comment, the role of mentorship in building your mind. That was something that was very powerful, I think. Would you agree with that?
Yes, that's really important. But additionally, what I can add that, let's say, it's not only about mentorship, it's about taking risks, to be stubborn, to know that, personal skills, that you have to be prepared, because startup is not like just another game. It's sometimes reminds a battle a little bit. And what additionally I want to add that in bioeconomy, I'm also, from a technological background. I was studying engineering things in the Netherlands. And what I do want to say that there's specificity for the bioeconomy business, because it's not that easygoing. It's like you have to troubleshoot, you have to solve someone's problem. It's also involving interdisciplinary team. That means that it's not only that you have to rely on yourself, you have to know other engineers, have to involve also like other stakeholders. And this was what I was lacking in Lithuania, to be honest, when I was
the knowledge that will be challenging, you mean?
Yeah, to combine other disciplines.
Okay.
This skill. Because I was thinking, I was a little bit naive, I guess, at a younger age, that when you start a startup, let's say, even in my case, I was having my startup. So I just need 3 people and we can move on. But the reality shows different things, and there was a little bit mind shift when I started to study in the Netherlands, where they were actually showing us how to solve the real life problem, the real business problem. They gave us as students to work in different disciplines, like team, from very broad disciplines like social, economic, engineering, and so on. And then I saw after that task that it really works when you are looking to the problem from different angles. So this what I would like really to change in Lithuania, maybe to bring that culture that you are not going alone, but you are going in teams, and these teams needs to be from different disciplines.
Ms. Mytikiene, then, do we have that in our university culture, looking at things from different angles and working in teams? So would you briefly comment on this before we go to lunch?
Yes, and colleagues mentioned about technological skill. Now study programs are interdisciplinary. At universities, scientists together with students work in interdisciplinary teams and solve problem. For example, if we talk about engineering study programs, students have skills engineering, economics, agriculture, and other disciplines, and technological problems now, I think, in the future students not have.
Did you want to say something, Nello?
Yes, just briefly, what you brought forward, this is essential This is what we industry are looking for at education institutions. And as Astrida is saying, is this multidisciplinarity. And the better you are as a multidisciplinary educated person, the better you can work in a diverse team, because this is where innovation starts.
Yeah. Angelica, we'll, I think, finish with you, and I will ask the final question of the balance that was, asked very, very recently. How can we find that balance, wanting the results fast and also, being and having to be able to risk? How do we balance that in young people?
I think from what I see is first, really inspiring people from a very young age. And inspire in different verticals, IoT, finance, deep tech, biotech, so they really find out the passion and the drive. Second, let them do. You don't know what you don't know. So unless they try to create a startup, they don't know it's a marathon. So let them try, and imagine if we let them try from the middle school, from 12 years, and they do every year one business enterprise. They already have 6-year experience till they finish the school, and they know how it works. And even if not everybody will become an entrepreneur, they will become a great entrepreneurs. So they know how to innovate inside the business. And then, guys, let's just mentor all this entrepreneurial mindset. This is how they can find a way that, okay, I'm almost burnt out, stop, or I can move on. So this is just this.
So a little meditation practices would not really do much harm as well, either. Either will do lunch, to which we will go in just a second, right after I have mentioned everybody's names and you will have applauded them. Angelika Rusteikienė, Teresa Škutaitė, Ugnė Dirdaitė, Tomas Bičkovas, Astrida Miceikienė, ir Nela Emerencija. Thank you so much for this wonderful comment. Enjoy your lunch and do come back here. Let me double check when. 2:15. So it's a rather longish lunch. Please enjoy it.